699 Serious. Folks, we'll do it again tomorrow. Black History Month question every day. Flash Black February. And then the finals every Friday. You'll get a chance to win an African Ancestry test kit. Trace your DNA, know your roots. Happy Black History Month. Joining us now, our friend and brother. He is the chair of the Democratic National Committee, Tom Perez. Tom, good morning, man. How are you?
I'm doing well. Happy Black History Month to everybody, all of you listeners. It's a pleasure to be with you.
Yeah, and it's a pleasure to have you as well. A bit of Black history on his own, folks. We know Tom now is the chair of the DNC, but at one time he was in the Civil Rights Division of the Justice Department and did a lot of great work there in the area of civil rights and justice. So we do want to acknowledge that. We don't ever want people to forget that that soldiering he did in that role. Tom was also Secretary of Labor. So, now that I'm saying it out loud, Tom's been pretty versatile in that regard and prolific. So let me just start there. Jobs numbers came out on Friday. Numbers weren't bad. There were a couple things in there embedded that the numbers didn't really reveal, though, with regards to the shutdown. I don't know if we still have the real final effect of that, those who actually got furloughed, those contract workers who actually lost their jobs. But in general, your response to the jobs numbers, Tom?
There was a lot of there was an increase in people looking for part-time work. Why? Because you had a lot of furloughed workers who were trying to make ends meet. I want to see good job numbers every month. I don't care who the president is. Mm-hmm. But what I want to see, more importantly, is people's standard of living going up. And that's the challenge we have in the Trump economy. If your salary goes up by $1, but the cost of living goes up by $2, you're falling behind.
Yeah.
And the attacks on healthcare. I talked to so many people who are diabetic, and they tell me that their insulin has gone up astronomically.
Yeah.
And you see this, you see people who are working multiple jobs to make ends meet. The most important family value is the value of time you spend with your kids. I still coach. I'm in my 12th year in a row of coaching one of my kids in basketball. We just won our third out of 4 games this Sunday, and I have the luxury of being able to do that. It's been a privilege for me because my most important title, Mark, will always be dad.
That's right.
There's so many millions of people who don't have that luxury because they're not able to make ends meet. And that's the problem with this Trump economy. It's going gangbusters for the really, really wealthy. And everybody else is falling behind. And that's why you see the angst out there. And a job number doesn't measure the standard of living that we need to measure. How are people doing? Wages are flat. One of the reasons wages are flat is because they've been attacking the union movement for years. If you're not at the table, you're on the menu.
Yeah,
and too many workers across this country are on the menu.
That's right. Also, another issue you have spoken out about, and a rare occasion where just about every Democrat is unified, and that's on the issue of Ralph Northam. Everyone has called for his resignation. As of you, I guess what I'm asking, Tom, what's the latest on that? Is there any indication that will come to a resolution anytime soon?
Well, I sure hope so. I think it has to. Governor Northam has lost his moral authority to govern.
Yeah.
Abe Lincoln once said, "Public sentiment is everything. With public sentiment, nothing can fail, and without it, nothing can succeed." Mm-hmm. He's lost the trust and confidence of the voters. And, one thing about Democrats, and this is one of the many reasons why I'm proud to be a Democrat, we do not hesitate to hold our own members accountable. And that's a huge difference between us and the Republicans.
Right.
The Republicans would just wait, they just wait this out. I mean, look at the President of the United States.
Yeah.
We can start there.
That's right.
They have no scruples. We have principles, and we apply them. And sometimes when we apply them, it's sad and it's hard. It's no fun, but it's what we have to do. And it's time for him to step aside. And, I have respect for him in terms of what he has done in his military service. I have no respect for the past actions that are antithetical to what the party stands for. But I think in the end of the day, he's going to understand that it's not about Ralph Northam. It's about what's in the best interest of the Commonwealth of Virginia.
That's right.
And
That's right.
I'm confident that he's going to step aside.
Well, and speaking of what we do as Democrats, I tried to sound like a lawyer like you on television yesterday. You know, the word impeach is thrown around a lot, Tom, in reference to Donald Trump. But what I was saying is, as Democrats, if we have someone guilty of anything as similar as Trump was in Charlottesville and elsewhere, then our party as a witness becomes an impeachable witness. You know, because if we aren't standing up showing the contradiction, well, we can't hold him accountable, not hold ourselves accountable. We become impeachable ourselves. So, I agree, and I think that's probably the reason why many people didn't hesitate to come out and say, no, we can't be a part of this. And and then it gets worse. He admits it on Friday, then he takes it back on Saturday and minimizes the little bit of shoe polish on the Michael Jackson thing. So it's really unfortunate, embarrassing. And I'm like you, I think we all had faith in Ralph Northam. I mean, he ran a good race. He seemed like a down-to-earth kind of fellow, but I'm just looking at something now. It's being reported that the medical school, as recently as 2013, had a picture of 3 students dressed in Confederate uniforms standing in front of a Confederate flag. So that's a whole nother thing about that school. But that's the culture.
It's a culture.
Yeah.
I mean, but I'll tell you, as I listen to you, Mark, I can't help but think of something that Dr. King said as we celebrate Black History Month, is that we will not only abhor the horrific acts of bad people, but the appalling silence of others.
Yeah.
And I think when history looks back on this dark moment of Donald Trump, this moment of division and distraction of our nation, it not only will history record that Donald Trump was the most divisive president in American history, but history will treat the Republican Party very harshly, because the appalling silence of so many Republicans in the face of bigotry, in the face of unspeakable corruption. I mean, how many cabinet secretaries have to leave under a cloud? How many cronies get indicted and convicted? And you have all these Republicans with a sock in their mouth. When we see injustice, we call it to account. Right. And that is what we're doing here in Virginia. And that's what we have to do as Democrats. And that is what we don't see with the Republican Party. They just have a sock in their mouth. And I keep hearing he's going to be making calls for unity tonight. That's laughable. I mean, if you think he's going to make credible calls for unity, I got a tower to sell you in Moscow.
Right. No credibility on that. So we'll just wrap things up. We'll end there. You said it. I mean, I don't think we can expect anything really sincere from him. And then that's overshadowed by he's still talking about threatening another shutdown, declaring a national emergency. So you can't call for unity and then be about those two things.
Well, I mean, again, the thing that you have to understand about distracting Donald is whenever he's in trouble, his go-to item in the playbook is immigration. Whether it's the caravans or whether it's the wall. The wall is not a safety measure. I've prosecuted cases at the southwest border when I was at the Justice Department, when I served under President Clinton and, by the way, President Bush 1 as a career prosecutor, and I'm proud of that. Mm-hmm. This is not about security. Democrats take a backseat to no one in our commitment to security. If we want to make sure we have secure borders, as we do, we invest in technology. We invest in making sure we have more judges to adjudicate the asylum cases. We make sure we have more security at our airports, because almost 2/3 of people who are undocumented in this country come through airports. So let's be smart on crime. This has nothing to do with law enforcement at the border. It has to do with a silly campaign promise that he made.
Right.
And what we have here is distracting Donald. Whenever the going is tough, his go-to playbook of division is immigration. You saw the run-up to the midterm elections. All it was about the caravan because he didn't want to talk about health care. The beauty of tonight, Mark, is we're going to hear from Stacey Abrams. Stacey Abrams puts hope on the ballot.
That's right.
Stacey Abrams embodies the American dream. Stacey Abrams is going to be talking about the Democratic vision for an America, the vision in which zip code never determines destiny, in which health care is indeed a right, where we will fight to make sure if you have a pre-existing condition, you can keep your health care. We will fight to make sure that your neighborhood school is going to prepare your kid for a future of opportunity. We're going to fight to make sure we're building more schools and less prisons. Those are the things that Democrats are fighting for. Jobs that help you feed your family. That's what it's about. And that's what I love about the Democratic Party. We're fighting for our democracy. We're fighting for our community.
Was Stacey given the response? Was that your idea, Tom?
I wish I could take credit for that, but I would be lying to you and your folks. And and I want to applaud Leader Schumer, for that. And also, I tell you, one of my favorite parts about tonight is going to be watching Speaker Pelosi right behind him.
Oh my goodness, yeah, that's gonna be something. I've been.
It sure will.
You can't do this, but I've been calling her the de facto president. Folks used to get tickled when I say that. But no, it's just Black History Month. So to have Stacey to be the first Black woman to give the response is great. He's in the ratings. He gets all the ratings. I have a feeling this probably will be one of the most watched State of the Union responses in history. So we look forward to it.
Amen. Well, I look forward to it as well. Thank you so much, and
thank you, man.
Black History Month.
Okay, Sam, you man. We'll talk later. Take care, buddy.
Bye-bye.
All right, Tom Perez, folks, chair of the Democratic Party.